What a great day and what a great crowd. Thank you all for coming today. I'm happy that I'm here. I had laryngitis all weekend. My voice has come back. It's one of those things. Teachers get sick, go to work anyway. Why? Because we want to work with our kids. Here we are fighting for our kids today, and you all being out here today is a great sign of how dedicated you are to our kids and our community. Thank you for being here. This is my 14th year as a teacher at Bancroft here in San Leandro, and I have to tell you, I wouldn't have made it without the support that I got from my colleagues, those experts, those tenured teachers who hand so much down to the next generation, and we couldn't make it without having the experience in the classroom. And so I honor all of those who have gone before me, showing me how to do it. I would not have made it without them. And that's what makes me a proud union teacher, because those fights that they fought to make our working conditions better have done everything to help us teach our kids. As you probably know, this has been a pretty difficult year to be a public school teacher. After weathering several consecutive years of devastating budget cuts, we started the year with that film, Waiting for Superman. You remember the film? Telling the world that teachers and unions are somehow to blame for the fact that our schools aren't doing well. Everyone from Bill Gates to Oprah to Time Magazine to the LA Times got right on that bandwagon, and the media frenzy has been ridiculous. And then we had those Tea Party governors, the ones in Wisconsin, and Michigan, and Florida and Idaho, going after the rights of public employees and going after school funding. Quite a strategy. Cut the funding and silence the dissent simultaneously. That's what we're here to fight. And I'm a little bit confused by their premise, I confess. So as an experiment, I know there are a few teachers here in the crowd. Do me a favor. Teachers, if you were up past 8 p.m., grading papers anytime in this last week, could you just raise your hand and shout a little bit? Okay. If you got to school before 7:30 any morning in the last couple of weeks, could you raise your hand and shout a little bit? Spend time in your classroom getting it ready for tomorrow's great unit. Could you raise your hand and shout a little bit? Those people waiting for Superman, I don't know what they're waiting for. Our superheroes are right here. Whether you're tutoring that student who needs a little extra support, whether you're setting up your classroom on that unit for the solar system, whether you're putting together the work on that new lesson plan, or just meeting with those parents whose kid needs a little bit of extra support, you are the superhero of today, and don't let anyone tell you that you're not. But if you want these teachers to be truly effective, then this is a message for Sacramento and for Bill Gates and for Oprah and for the Waiting for Superman crowd. If you want Superman, Superwoman, superhero to do the job, then put away the political kryptonite that keeps us from doing a great job. It might be No Child Left Behind or Raised to the Top with a kryptonite sledgehammer telling our kids that you have to be great test takers or else. It might be the kryptonite budget axe that they're swinging in Sacramento, cutting us off at the knees from every program that supports those kids. These policies are poison for our kids, and they keep us from doing our work. You want great education? Put away that political kryptonite and let teachers teach. So here we are in California. 37%. That's a pretty strong minority. 37% of our state legislature has joined on a no new taxes pact. And they're swinging that budget act like nobody's business. They're trying to chop us off at the knees. If we get no new revenues for our schools, then they're going to eliminate things like an ELD program, music programs, libraries. They're going to eliminate counselors and nurses. We've already had 3 years of dramatic pain in our schools. We've already had 3 years of not being able to serve our kids the way we want to serve them because those services were cut. It's time to stop the nonsense. It's time to bring the voice to Sacramento that we want to work with our kids, but you have to put the resources where the kids are. I'm not shutting that up. That sounds great. You're going to do that after me. I'm not chanting very hard with this voice here. But let's take a look at it. You're teachers and you know. They're asking us to reach for the impossible. And they're cutting off our resources while we're reaching. Their goal isn't helping the schools. Their goal is redirecting those resources so that their rich friends don't have to keep paying taxes. And our job is to reverse that. Why are the politicians and the media pundits attacking teachers and unions? It's because we're the loudest ones standing in the way of their efforts to tear our schools down. That Tea Party anti-tax crowd doesn't want to take responsibility for our kids. So we union folk are here to remind the country that our kids are more important than their rich friends' profits. Next week, teachers throughout California, organized by the California Teachers Association, CSEA, California Federation of Teachers, and all of the labor organizations that make up the greater labor community in California, are joining hands in a series of actions to force real solutions for California students. Inspired by those teachers in Wisconsin who stood in the Capitol and said, "No, you're not doing this to our kids in our schools." We're raising our voice to the media, to the legislature, making connections with the community, and standing together until the state legislature puts our kids first. Every day of the week next week will give you an opportunity to participate in this fight. It's called State of Emergency. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're going to have something to do to stand up for our kids. Members here, your site reps are going to be coming to you with the plan. With what are we doing on Monday, what are we doing on Tuesday? Don't wait for them to come find you. Go find them. Sign yourself up. The big event in the Bay Area is going to be Fridays, March 13, March to San Francisco to the Civic Center Plaza, where we're going to be joining about 50,000 of our best friends and putting out the call so that it gets heard left and right. We have to stand up for our schools. I know how you teachers work. Many of you will be spending your afternoon time tutoring another student on one more lesson. Many of you will be planning on meeting a parent to discuss different ways to support his or her kid. And as long as there's a classroom and a student to teach, you selflessly put out an effort to reach that kid and teach one more thing. But now, the walls of our classroom are being torn down. And we need to join hands in our fight until that fight is won. No more cuts. No more cuts. No more cuts. No more cuts.
No more cuts. No more cuts. No more cuts. No more cuts. No more cuts.
we go any further, I want to acknowledge a lot of help that we had putting this rally together. First of all, if it weren't for the building people who work here at San Leandro High School, you wouldn't be able to hear me at all. So thank you to them. I'd like to thank CSEA. CSEA is in the house. Go CSEA. Teamsters, building. And by the way, thank you so much to the Alameda Labor Council for doing so much work and getting us going out here. Administrators have shown up. The school board is here. The mayor's here and city council is here.